Hi everyone, join me today as I dive into one of the most inspiring stories in the Bible, the story of Joseph. His story is found in the book of Genesis, chapters 37 to 50. Although his story happened many years ago, it's still relevant today because it mirrors today's situations like family dysfunction and sibling rivalries. We will see in this story how God moves behind the scene in the life of Joseph. There are five main points in Joseph's story. Let's begin with point one, which is Joseph's dreams and his brother's jealousy, which can be found in Genesis 37 3 to 11. Joseph was Jacob's favorite son among many brothers, and he does not hide this fact. In fact, he created an ornate robe, which is luxurious and colorful, signifying his favoritism. This made Joseph's brothers hate him. One day, Joseph had a dream which he shared to his family. The meaning of his dream was his family bowing down to him. This only fueled the jealousy of his brothers even more. In Genesis 37:4 it says, "When his brothers saw that their father loved him more, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him." In point 2, betrayal and being sold. This can be found in Genesis 37:12 to 28. Out of anger and jealousy, Joseph's brothers wanted to kill him, but with the interference of one of his brothers, they instead sold him into slavery. It was the ultimate betrayal, but it was also the beginning of God's plan to elevate Joseph. In Genesis 50:20, it says, "You intend to harm me, but God intended for good." In point number 3, which is faithfulness in hardship, this can be found in Genesis 39. Joseph was sold to Potiphar, the right man of the Pharaoh of Egypt. He was very powerful. Joseph was good-looking, and the wife of Potiphar tried hard to seduce him. But Joseph is of good character and fears God, so he tried to avoid Potiphar's wife as much as possible, until one day he left his garment running away from the wife of his master, which then was used against him. Joseph was falsely accused and was put in prison for a crime he did not commit. He worked hard even in prison, being put in charge of other inmates. He remained faithful and honored God, and because of that, God was with him and gave him favor. In Genesis 39:21 it says, "The Lord was with him, he showed him kindness and granted him favor." Point 4 is from the pit to the palace, which can be found in Genesis 41. Two of the inmates both had a dream, and Joseph was able to interpret them correctly, crediting God for it. After 2 years has passed, he was also able to interpret the Pharaoh's dreams and was able to give him a very wise advice that could save Egypt from famine. Because of this, Joseph was promoted to second command in Egypt. In Genesis 41:41 it is written, "So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt." And the last point is forgiveness and reconciliation, which can be found in Genesis 45. When Joseph finally met his brothers again, instead of revenge, he chose forgiveness. The conversations and events that happened were so beautiful and emotional, but too long to discuss here. In Genesis 45:5 it says, "Do not be distressed, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." So what are some of the lessons we can draw from Joseph's story that are still relevant today? Number 1 is we should be mindful not to have favoritism among children, because this will result in jealousy and eventual animosity among siblings. Number 2 is not everyone will celebrate our dreams or the dreams that God gives us, but that doesn't mean we should let go of them. Number 3 is God's timing was perfect. Joseph went from the pit to the palace, showing that God can turn any situation around. Let's trust God for His timing in our lives as well. Number 4 is forgiving others is a beautiful picture of grace, and it also sets us free. So my encouragement for you today is, if you're going through a season of betrayal, hurt, or uncertainty, remember Joseph's story. God never abandoned him, and He won't abandon you too. Trust His timing, stay faithful, and choose forgiveness. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more Bible-based content and leave a comment below. What part of Joseph's story speaks to you the most? Have a great day and God bless.